Opus is now the new plugin which has replaced Play with the East West Studios Composer Cloud. So it's Opus engine that I'll be using to showcase the Wordbuilder features, where they are, how you can use them, and basically everything you need to know about Wordbuilder. We've got to remember that when we're using Opus, the Wordbuilder plugin is only available in libraries that support it. So the more modern Hollywood choirs will support it. You will also find that the Choirs Platinum will support Wordbuilder. So anything that has WB Multi after it will support Wordbuilder. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on one of these and we're going to edit them and show you how to access Wordbuilder. Browse, Play and Wordbuilder, or Browse, Perform, and then there's Wordbuilder there. You can either type in your own text, whether it be in English, phonetics or Votox. You can then also choose from some stock phrases which you'll find on the bottom right of the middle area. You can find you'll be able to sing in Latin, Spanish, English, Latin phrase, Spanish phrases, English phrases, full Latin phrases that have been updated, German phrases, Italian phrases, and also backup singers, the only other library that you can then use with Wordbuilder. So once you've found those, you can have a little play. So you can have either a play of some English phrases, so for example, the dragon is sleeping, and then you can play those on your keyboard. And that's one example of a phrase that you can use with Wordbuilder. Let's see if we can type our own, and I'll show you how to edit them as well. We can delete a dragon is sleeping, and clicking on the English tab, we can just say something like the word Wordbuilder. Now you notice these are two separate words, so when I play them on the keyboard, you'll find that I will have to play the keys once, and then they will sound out each one, and then I play again and it will sound out the next one. So by playing them twice, you'll have the two separate words played. So what we're going to do is we're going to split up those two words, Wordbuilder, into Wordbuilder. So when we play Wordbuilder on the keyboard, then this will sound like this. The sound doesn't sound like Wordbuilder, so let's put another D in there, so it'll look like Wordbuilder. So there's a lot more of a plosive on there than there was before. So that's one tip to bear in mind. Splitting up the words will help you massively there. You'll notice underneath then, you can cycle through the first of every word, Wordbuilder. You'll see that that shows you the first section of each of the words. So if you click on word, but then you click down below, you'll be able to cycle through the letters of that. And you can see that it's actually put the O as a U because word can actually change when that starts and stops. So you can actually stop it from coming in too soon, or if you think it's not strong enough, you can actually elongate it. So let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to shorten it. I'm going to show you word again. It didn't actually sing much of the sound of wa. Even more, I'm just going to have like less of the sound. Okay, you can hear more of the D. So as you can see the R and the D, if we just scroll over to the right, the R, R, we want less of the R and more of the D. We can do that. We can go. So what you can do is in changing the sound and the emphasis of these, let's bring back the U a bit more if you want to hold it on. So you can hear that I've actually shortened the and you hear there's a gap before the R and the D. So if you wanted to be able to have less of a D and more of the you can then do that. You can also move them around as well, so depending where you want it to appear within that particular sound, if you think it comes in too soon, or if you think there isn't enough, once again, just go. So everyone's taste will be different, but it's just to give you an example of what it sounds. So you can see also on the left hand side, in whatever section of the word you select, you can see it's selected here in the word section here. So you've got the English version, the phonetics version, and the Votox version. You can solo that section and just play. So by doing that, you can solo that particular section and then tweak that particular section. Here you've got syllable. Say you wanted to then add in or learn a particular word that you had just created. What you can do is you can then tweak then and save that. So here I've tweaked the word. Just go back and solo that again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to learn. So I click learn, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to sync draw only and also the current voice, and then what we'll do is we shall click start. OK, and then it's now learnt that and it's now taken that as its own version of Word. Where you got letter here on the right hand side, you have got different ways you can edit it. So you can change the velocity of it, you can make it more of a normal attack, you can change it so it's a bit smoother, you can change the staccato as a bit shorter, or you can have it slurred, sliding legato. And then you can have equal to, more than, less than, and you can also have divisible by, multiplied by as well. So what we can do is we can just have equal to, then we can have legato for example, and then we can do that, and we can change that C over here, and then you'll have so you've changed the actual sound of the W sound, which is completely crazy sounding, to be honest. So what we can do is we can just do it at its normal text as written, and we don't want it to have anything, so we're just going to OK that, and that should just bring you back to the original sound as well. You can tweak those options down here. Over on the voice in the top left hand side, what you can do is once you have got it to where you need it to be, you can either export this, you can then save it as a particular version, you can also then change the phonemes in that particular sample that you've done, and then click OK to save that. You can export it into a place of your choosing. So for example, it could be Orchestrator, the folder, save it as Wordbuilder test, and then you can save that, and then you can call on that whenever you wanted to as well. So if you wanted to load in a particular version of the word that you had been working on, then you would obviously import it, and then you would have your Wordbuilder test wherever you saved it. So on the top right hand side then you've got tools, you've got undo and redo. So if you ever did think, oh, I've really messed up here, undo and redo are your friends here. Below here you've got reset position. So for those of you find you're in the middle of a word, for example, like so I'm in the middle of build and I want to go reset position, and it goes back to. So it's really useful to be able to test that, especially if you're in a massive large scale production and you want to be able to then improve that. Bypass and panic. So if you feel that your sounds are going a bit crazy, that they're stuck or they're just jammed, panic can stop every single signal, and then bypass can also mean that when you click on bypass, it completely bypasses the word that you've written and it just goes to a simple ooh sound. Options then, if you click options here, you can then choose the options to use in that particular sound library that you've got. You can change the language. Obviously I've used English because that's easiest, but you can also have Latin mode as well. You can have at the top here, you can have timers, so you can have, if you feel that the chords are a little bit too delayed, you can decrease the milliseconds, so the time when you play the actual sound to the way it sounds as well. So that can also help with latency. And then events, so for example, how quickly do you want it to turn to the beginning once it's finished, and you can do other sort of bank select options in there as well. And as explained before, the phrases, and we can go into any ones of these, the English phrases, there are lots of those. Choose infinity. Now we'll add on a word to whatever you've written in already. So if you don't want that to be the case, just delete what's gone before. There is actually a Wordbuilder word guide that you can download. I'm going to put a link to that down in the description of this video. One final thing then on the left hand side is you've got different layers of sound that you can use for your Wordbuilder. Okay, now you've got different ways of tweaking the sounds. This is part of the Opus engine, and then so anyone who knows, you can then change in terms of the volume, the pan, these sorts of things. You can mute it, you can also solo a particular section in here. Wordbuilder only uses the first track here. It explains how much RAM is being used to use that particular sound. You can also change in terms of the tracks, and here you can also change the type of MIDI that you're going to be using, which channel, where you're going to be using omni, multi, none, or single mono channel. And then finally you can also select your routing as well for your audio interface, but we want to leave it to all because I want to be able to hear the output as well as the input. On the right hand side you've got the inspector. The inspector shows you the name and the different parameters for this particular sound. You can see the product ID. This is especially useful when you want to link it to other software such as Sibelius, and I do have a video tutorial on that in the playlist already, so do check that out. So beneath here then you've got got tempo. You can change the tempo, which I think changes the global tempo as well, but I have never actually tried it. You can also change the time signature too, but usually that's globally operated by the digital audio workstation that you will be using, so don't worry too much about that. Over underneath you've got the instrument section. You can see it's active. You can see what the product ID is. As I said already, it's really useful. The tuning scale, you can change that, so if you wanted to change the tuning scale you could do. Also if you wanted more of a pentatonic sound, so you can then choose that, and there's obviously a wealth of different ones that you can choose from too. You can then choose the root note if you wanted to transpose it, for example, but still play, for example, on the C. You could then change the tuning route, change the MIDI channel, the input, and also the voice limit in terms of if you're running out of memory, then you can change that here. Load state, now obviously using a solid state drive would be my preference. You can then ask it to change to partially loaded, fully loaded, or purged, in other words not loaded at all. Tempo sync is usually quite useful because you can change the tempo. That usually gets done via the digital audio workstation anyway. You can change the colour so you know which track is which, and underneath you've got the instrument zone showing you the range of sounds that will be triggered. So for example, because it's a male choir, you've got 2 octaves below middle C up to the 8th note above the G. Another aspect about the Opus engine is it gives you a lot more functionality and power over tweaking the sound, and also to be able to make sure that that library, that choir, sounding super realistic. So you've got the Men W multi, which you've obviously seen because you've clicked on perform, and underneath here you've also got MIDI tools, which if you click on the plus at the top right hand side gives you the option to add in additional MIDI tools built into the Opus engine. So if, for example, if you wanted the arpeggiator, you could then add that functionality in, and then if you do that you can then tweak those parameters accordingly, and it will make your sound even more fun. And it's looping infinity over and over again. Here you've got the instances here of the Wordbuilder multi. You can hear at the top here. You can see the input. You can see this one that's green, which is soloed. You can de-solo that, and you can add in other layers underneath. So if you wanted to build up a really full choir, you could do that as well. So again, these are extra tools you can then use to build some extra interest into your sound like that. You can just remove it by clicking on the 3 dots, remove all, and that's you got that. All instances, yes, just gives you different parameters to be able to layer up the sounds, and then zones, a bit like before, you can actually change the zone so you don't have to have all of the sound playing on all of the range of the keyboard. You can have a key switch range, you can have program change, you can change your controller and your velocity, so a lot more control and power over these than you ever did before. I do still think Wordbuilder is a vital plugin, and especially as it uses your own words and adapt them, tweak them for 2 of East West's best vocal libraries, is certainly a massive powerful tool. But who knows, in the future they may introduce more, allowing you to have even more functionality over your Wordbuilder creations. Thanks very much for watching. Do check out the playlist, and I will see you in the next video.